I'm Ariana, and after my uncle died, I found a USB filled with dangerous secrets. A criminal group came after me, and I almost didn't survive. With the help of a detective, I escaped. Now I'm ready to expose the truth and finish what my uncle started. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe. Get ready for real emotional and thrilling stories from Black adults that will keep you hooked till the end. I used to tell myself that life only gets dark right before something good happens. Maybe it was my way of surviving. Maybe it was denial. But on the night everything fell apart, even that tiny hope inside me began to flicker. My name is Ariana Brooks. I'm 25 years old, and I've been living in a constant tug-of-war between survival and fear. Most people my age talk about travel dreams, career goals, or relationships. My biggest goal is making it through another month without losing my home. Or my sanity. That night, I came home from my second shift at the diner. My body ached, my feet throbbed, and the scent of burnt coffee still clung to my clothes. All I wanted was 5 minutes of peace. 5 minutes where I didn't have to think about bills, debts, or the shadows of my past that followed me like they were waiting for me to slip. But peace is a luxury life rarely offers me. As I walked down the dim hallway of my apartment building, something felt off. The air felt too still, too cold, like the building itself knew something I didn't. A faint buzzing sound echoed from the flickering light. Above apartment 3B, my apartment. That light always flickered, but tonight it felt more like a warning. I bent down to pick up the mail scattered at my door. A few flyers, an electricity bill I already knew I couldn't pay, and one envelope that made my stomach twist. It was bright yellow, stamped in red ink. Official notice. My heart dropped. I tore it open right there in the hallway, my hands trembling even before I read the first line. Final eviction notice. Property must be vacated within 7 days. 7 days. My vision blurred for a moment. I leaned against my door just to stay upright. The hallway felt like it was spinning, like the world had tilted and I was the only one falling. I whispered, almost like I could soften the blow by saying it quietly. 7 days? How am I supposed to do this? My paycheck barely covers food. My tips help me buy gas. My second job pays just enough to keep me from drowning, but never enough to breathe. And now this. I walked inside, letting the door close behind me. My apartment was tiny, peeling paint, uneven floors, and a heater that complained louder than it worked, but it was the only thing in my life that felt like mine. I dropped the notice on the counter and slid down to the floor. The silence felt heavy. I could hear my own heartbeat, loud and uneven. For a moment, I let myself cry. Not the loud kind, just silent tears I wiped away quickly, like I was afraid someone might see me break. But the worst part wasn't the eviction. It wasn't even the fear. It was the memories that came crashing back the moment I saw that notice, because the last time I faced losing everything, I discovered a truth that forced me to run from the people I trusted the most. I closed my eyes, and before I could stop myself, I was right back there 3 years ago. A basement, a hidden phone, a recording I was never supposed to hear. I still remember the sound of my brother's voice on that recording, the calmness in his tone, the chilling details he spoke of, and how casually he mentioned my name as if he'd already decided I would take the fall for something I didn't even know existed. That night shattered something inside me. The girl I was back then died quietly, without a sound, while the rest of the world continued breathing like nothing had happened, and so I ran. Left everything. Changed cities. Changed my entire life. I built walls around myself so high that even sunlight struggled to get through them. And for 3 years, I lived quietly, making sure no one from my past could ever find me. But the eviction notice lying on my kitchen counter felt like a message. You can't run forever. Ariana. I stood up slowly, wiping my face. My body felt too light, too shaky. Losing this apartment meant more than just homelessness. It meant exposure, vulnerability. It meant the possibility that my past could catch up to me again, and I wasn't sure I could survive that twice. With my hands still trembling, I whispered into the empty room, I can't do this alone anymore. It was the truth I had avoided for too long. I needed help. I needed someone. Even if that someone was the last person I ever wanted to face again. My family. The very people I'd escaped. As tears dried on my cheeks, I stared at the eviction notice one more time. Then I reached for my phone. My mother's number. It rang once, twice, 3 times. I didn't know whether I wanted her to answer, or if I were terrified that she would. Asterisk, my mother answered on the fourth ring. Ariana? Her voice was flat, no warmth, no surprise. Just my name, spoken like an obligation. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. 3 years without speaking, and this was how it began again, cold, distant, sharp around the edges. I swallowed hard. Mom, I need to talk to you. It's important. A pause. Then a sigh. If this is about money, it's not. I lied quickly. I need to see you. Both of you. You mean Cole too? She asked, and I could practically hear the smirk in her voice. Yes, him too. Another sigh. Longer this time. Fine. Dinner, tomorrow. 6 o'clock. And just like that, she hung up. No, how are you? No, I missed you. Not even a fake attempt at pretending she cared, but I wasn't calling for love. I was calling for survival. The next evening, I drove to their neighborhood, the same place I grew up in, but never felt like I belonged to. Their porch light glowed warmly, but I knew better. That house had never known warmth. It only knew expectations, comparisons, and disappointments mostly directed at me. I stepped out of the car and inhaled deeply before walking to the door. The moment I knocked, I felt a familiar anxiety crawl up my spine. My mother opened the door, dressed like she had guests, not family. Cole was sitting on the couch, his feet on the table, scrolling through his phone. He didn't even look up. Typical. Double quote sit, my mother ordered, not asked. Dinner is almost ready. I sat quietly, my hands locked together in my lap. The smell of baked chicken filled the room, a favorite meal. But only when they wanted something from me. Tonight, though, I was the one in need, and they could smell weakness better than anyone. Cole finally looked at me, eyebrows raised. So the prodigal daughter returns, he said. What brought you back? Bored with your little mystery life? I ignored the sting inside my chest. I'm not here to fight, I said softly. I need help. He grinned slow, cruel. Of course you do. My mother set the plates on the table and sat across from me. Speak, she said. We don't have all night. Their impatience felt like a slap. But I pushed the hurt down and spoke anyway. I'm getting evicted. I have 7 days. I need $1,800. The room went completely still. Then, as if choreographed, they both burst out laughing. My mother leaned back in her chair, shaking her head. Oh, Ariana? You always find a way to create drama. Cole added, You really think we're gonna fix your mess? Again? Again? What again? I hadn't asked them for help in years. My hands curled into fists. I'm not asking for charity. I'm desperate. Cole's grin widened. You should have thought about that before disappearing. You left without a word. No explanation. 3 years, Ariana, 3. My throat tightened. He wanted me to say it. He wanted me to confess the real reason I left, but I couldn't not hear, not to them. Especially not when I knew what he had done. I left because I needed to. I said quietly, That's not an answer, my mother snapped. People don't just vanish unless they're hiding something. I froze. Her words pierced deeper than she realized. She continued, Tell me, what exactly were you running from? My heart pounded. My palms went cold. She didn't know about the recording. She didn't know the danger I was in. She didn't know that her golden boy, the son who could do no wrong, was capable of things she couldn't even imagine. So I said the only thing that wouldn't give me away. I was trying to protect myself. Cole leaned forward. From who, Ariana? His stare was sharp, dangerous, almost daring me to say his name. I looked away. He laughed softly, shaking his head. You're such a terrible liar. My mother folded her arms. I'm not giving you money. Maybe this experience will finally teach you responsibility. A hollow feeling opened inside my chest. You won't even try to understand? What's there to understand? She snapped. You made your choices. Now live with them. I felt the air leave my lungs. The little girl inside me, the one who spent her life trying to earn their love, crumbled in silence. Cole tapped the table, signaling the conversation was over. You're on your own, sis. You always were. Something inside me shifted, quiet but powerful. I stood up slowly, looking at both of them. Thank you, I said. My mother frowned. For what? For showing me who you really are. I walked out of that house without looking back. But as soon as I stepped outside, I realized something terrifying. My family wasn't just heartless. They were dangerous, and by asking for help, I might have awakened a threat I thought I escaped years ago. I drove away from my family's house with shaking hands, gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. The streetlights blurred through my tears, and the silence inside the car felt as heavy as the truth I'd been carrying for years. I should have felt angry. I should have felt betrayed. But instead, I felt something colder: fear. The kind of fear that rises from your stomach and spreads through every vein. The kind that doesn't let you breathe. By the time I pulled into my apartment parking lot, my chest felt tight. I sat there breathing hard, staring at the cracked windshield like it could somehow give me answers. It didn't. All it did was reflect the face of a girl who had spent her whole life trying to escape the shadows of a family that never saw her worth, and one brother whose darkness I had never fully understood until it was too late. As I sat there, the memory I had buried so deep, the one I tried to drown in distance and silence, forced itself to the surface. 3 years ago, the night that changed everything, I had just come home from my late shift, exhausted and ready to collapse in bed. The house was dark except for a faint light coming from the basement, Cole's basement. He always kept it locked. Always, but that night, the door was slightly open. At first, I thought maybe he forgot to close it. Maybe he was out. Maybe it was nothing, but then I heard it, a voice. A whisper. A conversation. I stepped closer, my heart thudding in my ears. Cole's voice, low and serious, echoed upward. We're not talking about this again. I already handled it. A pause. Another man's voice. You handled it? By pinning it on your sister? My breath caught. Cole's tone sharpened, cold as ice. She was perfect for it. Wrong place, wrong time. She has no idea what happened. My body went numb. I pressed my back against the wall, afraid to move. Afraid he might hear me breathing. The other man sounded nervous. What if someone connects the dots? What if she finds out? Cole scoffed. She won't. She trusts too easily. She's weak. Weak. The words stung in a way I wasn't prepared for. The man asked, and the evidence? Gone, Cole said confidently. Buried? And if anything ever comes back, she takes the fall. Not me. I felt the world tilt. My heartbeat was so loud I was sure they'd hear it. I should have run. I should have escaped right then. But I froze because I needed to hear what he had done. What I was unknowingly tied to. What about the girl? The man whispered. The one who Cole cut him off, voice sharp. I said it's handled. Silence, and then something scraped across the floor, metal, heavy. The sound made my entire body tremble. I couldn't listen anymore. Couldn't breathe. I backed away slowly, quietly, and escaped into my room. Every bone in my body was shaking uncontrollably. That night I didn't sleep. I didn't blink. I didn't even cry. I waited until the first sign of sunrise. Then I packed a bag, grabbed every dollar I had and ran. I blocked their numbers. Changed my phone. Moved 3 states away. Cut off my past like a diseased limb, because if I didn't, I knew what would happen to me. Cole didn't just commit a crime. He used my existence as a shield to protect himself, and if anyone ever exposed him, I would be the one paying the price. A car honk snapped me back to the present. I wiped my eyes and forced myself to breathe. I wasn't the same girl I was back then. I wasn't weak. Not anymore, but that didn't stop the fear from tightening around my ribs. I stepped out of the car and hurried to my apartment, locking the door quickly behind me. The eviction notice still sat on the counter exactly where I left it. 7 days. 7 days until I had nowhere to hide. 7 days until the last place I called home was taken away from me. I leaned on the counter, staring at the notice like it was a countdown to my ruin. My family had made one thing clear tonight: I was on my own. Utterly, completely alone. As I stood there, trying to figure out my next step, my phone buzzed on the table. With a shaky breath, I picked it up. Unknown number. My stomach twisted. I hesitated, then answered. A woman's voice, steady, calm, but urgent, spoke. Ariana, we need to talk. It's about Cole. My heart nearly stopped. Who is this? I whispered. A brief pause. My name is Detective Harper, and I know what happened 3 years ago. You're not safe. Not anymore. I felt the world shift beneath my feet. My past had finally found me. Asterisk. For a second, I couldn't move. Detective Harper's voice echoed in my mind like a thunderclap. You're not safe. Not anymore. My grip on the phone tightened. Detective. How do you know my name? My voice was barely a whisper. I'll explain, she said calmly. But I need you to stay on the line. Are you alone right now? I glanced around my apartment, dim lights, peeling paint, the eviction notice on the counter. I wasn't sure if I was alone in any sense. Not in my mind. Not in my past. Yes, I whispered. I'm alone. Another pause, then her voice softened. Ariana, I need you to listen carefully. 3 years ago, your brother Cole was involved in a serious incident. I know. My voice cracked. I overheard him talking. I left because of that. No, she said, and her voice shifted serious, heavy. You don't know everything? A chill slid down my spine. What do you mean? Ariana, the girl your brother mentioned? The one he said he handled? She exhaled slowly, heavily. She was found last week. And she's alive. My breath caught. Alive? I sank into the nearest chair, my knees too weak to hold me. I don't understand, I whispered. Why are you calling me? Because, she said, she named you. My entire world froze. What? She said she remembers hearing your name while she was being threatened. Cole used your name to scare her, to control her. And when she was found, she told the authorities she believed you were part of it. My heart felt like it stopped completely. No, that's not true. I had nothing to do with any of it. I didn't even know what Cole was doing. My voice cracked and trembled as fear rose like water flooding my lungs. I believe you, the detective said firmly. But the problem is, not everyone will. I pressed a hand over my mouth, trying to keep from sobbing. My vision blurred again. Why? Why are you telling me this now? Because Cole knows she's alive, and he knows the investigation is being reopened. I felt cold all over. Detective Harper continued. I've been watching Cole for months. And tonight, after your family dinner, he made a phone call. A suspicious one. My stomach twisted painfully. What kind of call? I whispered. He mentioned you. Silence stopped. My pulse roared in my ears. What did he say? He said Ariana came back. I'll take care of it. I couldn't breathe. I stared at the walls of my tiny apartment walls that suddenly felt like they were closing in. He's coming for you, the detective said gently. I need you to pack a bag and leave your apartment tonight. Tonight? My voice shook violently. I don't have anywhere to go. I'm arranging a safe location for you, she said. But I need you to trust me. Why? I whispered. Why would you help me? You don't even know me. The detective hesitated. When she spoke again, her voice held something unexpected, something almost personal. Because I know what it's like to be blamed for someone else's darkness. I swallowed hard. My throat aching. Please, she said. Just listen to me. Cole is dangerous, Ariana. You know that better than anyone. A shaky breath escaped me. She was right. I had known it the moment I heard that recording. I had known it the night I ran. I had known it every time I looked over my shoulder these past 3 years. Okay, I whispered. I'll pack. Good, and Ariana? Her voice lowered, urgent. Leave your lights on and don't look outside the windows. I don't know how close he is. My heart dropped into my stomach. Is he? We're tracking him, she said quickly. But it's safer if you move fast. I nodded even though she couldn't see me. My entire body trembled as I grabbed my small duffel bag and started stuffing clothes into it. Every sound felt louder, the buzz of the refrigerator, the creak of the floorboards, the wind hitting the window. My hand shook so badly I could barely zip the bag. Detective? I whispered, my voice cracking. Yes? Am I a suspect? Right now? She said gently. You're a victim. But if Cole gets desperate, he might try to make you look guilty. He's done it before. My breath shuddered. She whispered, You're not alone. Just stay calm. But I wasn't calm, because as I walked toward the door with my bag, something outside caught my eye. Shadow, long, still, standing directly across the parking lot under a flickering streetlight. I froze. Detective. I whispered, voice trembling. I think someone's outside. Her voice sharpened instantly. Is it him? Two don't know. The shadow moved slowly, deliberately, like it knew I was watching. Ariana, the detective said sharply. Get away from the window now. I stumbled back. My pulse exploding in my chest because the shadow stepped forward. And even from a distance, even through the dark, I knew that walk. I knew that posture. I knew that presence. It was Cole, and he had found me. I couldn't sleep the night after Detective Hale left my apartment. His warning replayed in my mind like a looping siren. People who hide money usually hide secrets too. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, my heart refusing to calm. Every instinct inside me kept whispering that something was very, very wrong. And that whatever it had started long before my uncle's death. By morning, I had made a decision, one I wasn't sure I was brave enough to carry out, but fear was no longer my enemy. Not knowing the truth was, I grabbed the small key I'd stolen from the back of my uncle's dresser the night before. He had kept it hidden under a loose floorboard, wrapped in a torn piece of cloth. At the time, I didn't understand what it opened, but now? I had a feeling it was the missing piece my uncle wanted me to find. The basement door creaked as I opened. The familiar scent of dust and old wood rising up to greet me. My uncle always kept the basement locked, warning me to stay out unless it's an emergency. Growing up, I thought he meant tools or dangerous equipment. Now I understood he meant something else entirely. I stepped down the narrow staircase, my phone flashlight cutting through the shadows. The air felt heavier down there, like the walls were holding their breath. I scanned the shelves, the boxes, the old filing cabinets, nothing that looked like it needed a special key. Then my light landed on a small locked metal box in the corner. It was rusted around the edges, but its lock looked newer, as if it had been replaced recently. My hands trembled as I crouched down. This has to be it. I slipped the key in and turned. A tiny, sharp click echoed through the basement like a gunshot. Inside the box, wrapped neatly in layers of cloth, was a single USB drive. Next to it lay a folded letter with my name written in my uncle's handwriting. For a moment, I couldn't move. I just stared, my breath trapped somewhere in my chest. Finally, I unfolded the letter. Ava, if you're reading this, it means I didn't make it in time. Some people will come looking for you and for the money. They think I took something that belonged to them, but the truth is, they took something from me first. This recording will explain everything. Don't trust anyone until you've watched it. Especially not the ones who smile too easily. Uncle Marcus, my fingertips tingled. The ones who smile too easily? Who? My friends? My neighbors? Someone in my family? I grabbed the USB and rushed upstairs. My heart was pounding so loudly that it felt like the floorboards vibrated beneath me. I shut my curtains, locked the door, and slid the USB into my laptop. A single video file appeared. Marcus_final.mov. I clicked it. The screen flickered before. My uncle's face appeared, tired, stressed, eyes full of fear I had never seen in him before. Ava, he whispered, glancing behind him as if someone might walk in. I don't have much time. My throat tightened. They killed my partner, he said. And they think I took the flash drive he died protecting. I didn't. Someone else did. Someone pretending to be on our side. Partner? Killed? My uncle worked as an accountant. What partner? Then he said something that made my whole body go cold. The money, the $300,000. I moved it into your name because you're the only one I trust. They won't suspect you. At least, I hope they won't. He rubbed his forehead, breathing hard. Listen to me carefully. There's someone close to you, someone already watching. They want the flash drive. They think I had it. But they're wrong. He leaned closer to the camera, his voice cracking. You're in more danger than you know. My stomach twisted violently. Close to me? Watching me? The video kept going, my uncle now trembling as he spoke. Don't go to the police until you know who you can trust. And whatever you do, don't let them corner you. They're not afraid to hurt people. A loud bang sounded behind him in the video. My uncle whipped his head around, panic flooding his face. They found me. The video cut to black. I stared at the screen, frozen. My breath came in short, sharp gasps. Someone close to me was watching. Someone dangerous. Someone I had probably smiled at. Maybe even hugged. A sudden knock pounded on my front door. Hard. Fast. Urgent. I jolted upright, my pulse crashing like thunder in my ears. Then I heard a voice I recognized, one that made my blood run cold. Ava, open up. We need to talk. Now. It was someone I never expected, and suddenly I knew. My uncle had been right. The pounding on my door didn't stop, it grew louder, more impatient, more demanding. Ava, the voice called again. I know you're in there. Open the door. I stayed completely still, barely breathing. It was Sarah, my best friend since high school, my movie night partner. The person who used to braid my hair before school dances. And now she was pounding on my door like someone ready to break it down. My uncle's warning echoed in my mind like a heartbeat. There's someone close to you, someone already watching. Sarah's voice softened suddenly, too suddenly. Ava, she said, almost whispering now, please. I just want to talk. I'm worried about you. A chill slid down my spine. Worried? About me? Or about the flash drive she thought I had? I backed away from the door, careful not to make a sound. My apartment felt too small, like the walls were squeezing me toward the danger outside. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from Sarah. Sarah, I know what Marcus left you. Let me in before someone else gets here. My chest tightened so hard I thought I might faint. She knew. My hands shook as I typed back with numb fingers. Me. I don't know what you're talking about. Please leave. She responded instantly. Sarah, Ava, don't do this. I'm trying to protect you. Another message followed. Sarah, they're already watching your building. My stomach dropped. I rushed to the window and peeked through the blinds. A black SUV was parked across the street. Tinted windows. Engine running. Someone was inside, watching, waiting. A wave of panic rolled through me. What had my uncle gotten me into? And how did Sarah fit into all of this? I stepped away from the window, my mind racing. I had to think. Fast. The flash drive. The money. My uncle's warning about trust. I grabbed my backpack and shoved the USB inside. My heart thudded painfully against my ribs as I looked toward the back door. If I timed it right, I could slip out before Sarah realized. But as soon as I reached for the handle, more knocking. This time from the back. Ava, open up, Sarah called, now on the other side of the house. I'm not here to hurt you, but you're running out of time. My lungs tightened. She was circling the house. I looked around desperately. I only had seconds. Then I remembered something, my uncle's old exit route. When I was a kid, he had a custom attic window installed for emergency escapes. I always assumed it was for fire safety. Maybe it wasn't. I grabbed the hallway ladder and pulled it down. The wooden rungs groaned as I climbed quickly into the dusty attic. My heartbeat was a drum inside my head. Below me, I heard Sarah re-enter the porch. Ava, she said, her voice no longer pretending calm. You don't understand what's at stake. Just let me in. I ignored her and crawled toward the small window. It opened with a stiff creak. Cold air blasted in, carrying the scent of rain. The roof slanted sharply downward. I would have to slide and jump. I swallowed hard, whispering to myself, move, Ava. Move. Behind me, I heard the unmistakable sound of a door frame cracking. Sarah was breaking in. I didn't hesitate. I pushed myself through the window, slid across the shingles, and jumped the last 8 feet into a patch of wet grass. The landing shook every bone in my legs, but I stayed on my feet. Shouts erupted from inside the house. I sprinted down the alleyway, my breath burning, my backpack bouncing against my spine. The sky had turned dark, heavy with storm clouds ready to explode. I didn't stop running. Not when I heard footsteps behind me. Not when thunder cracked overhead. Not even when I reached the street and saw another SUV pull around the corner. I dashed between 2 parked cars and down a deserted side street. The city lights blurred behind me as I ran without direction, without a plan, with only one thought echoing through my mind: I can't trust anyone. By the time I ducked into an abandoned laundromat, my chest was heaving, my clothes soaked from the rain. I locked the door, collapsed behind a broken washing machine, and pulled out the USB drive. My uncle had given his life for whatever was on this thing. Now I was running from mine. The door rattled suddenly slow. Deliberate. Someone had followed me, and they weren't knocking. They were trying to break in. The rattling at the laundromat door grew sharper, more deliberate. Metal scraped against metal. Someone was picking the lock. I crouched behind the broken washing machine, my breath shallow, my hands gripping the USB like it was a lifeline. The room smelled like rust and old detergent. Rain hammered against the rooftop as lightning flashed through the shattered window. For a moment, I tried to steady my heartbeat, but my body refused to calm. This wasn't fear anymore, it was survival. The lock clicked. Footsteps entered. Slow, heavy, someone tall judging by the weight of each step. Not Sarah, a man. I peeked through a small gap between the washer and the wall. Black boots, black jacket. A patch on the sleeve one I recognized. I froze. It was the same insignia from my uncle's final video. The same group, Hesed. D wasn't afraid to hurt people. A cold numbness spread through my chest. I slid deeper into the shadow and pressed my back against the wall, the USB digging into my palm. The man paced across the room, scanning every corner. Ava, he said calmly, voice deep and steady. You can come out now. We're not here to hurt you. There were more of them. Thunder cracked again, shaking the windows. I knew I had seconds, maybe less. Then something happened I didn't expect. My phone lit up, a call. Detective Hale. My heart raced. He must have tracked my location. But answering now. The man would hear me. Another text flashed on the screen. Hale, don't speak. Stay down. I'm 2 minutes out. 2 minutes might as well have been a lifetime. The man moved closer to my hiding spot. I could hear his breathing, now slow, controlled, almost bored. He stopped inches from me. I know you're scared, he said. But your uncle stole something that wasn't his. Return it and this ends. My blood boiled. My uncle didn't steal anything. He died trying to protect something. Footsteps sounded outside. Multiple pairs, fast, urgent. The man stiffened. Then he said quietly, they weren't supposed to find us so soon. Before I could process his words, the laundromat door burst open, slammed with such force that the glass shattered. Police, hands where I can see them. Detective Hale stormed in with 2 officers behind him, weapons drawn. The man spun toward them, reaching into his jacket. Gun! One officer shouted. Shots exploded, deafening in the small space. I threw myself to the floor as bullets ricocheted off metal dryers. The air was filled with smoke and panic. When the noise settled, the man lay on the ground, motionless, his jacket torn open. A weapon lay beside him. Detective Hale scanned the room, chest heaving. Ava? Ava? I crawled out from behind the machine, shaking uncontrollably. He rushed to me, eyes wide with relief. Thank God. Are you hurt? No, just scared, I whispered, my voice cracking. They were going to take me. You're safe now, he said gently, helping me stand. But we need to talk about that flash drive. My hand tightened around it. I wasn't ready. Not yet. Let's get out of here first, I whispered. He nodded and guided me toward the exit. Officers swarmed the scene, securing the area. Rain poured down, soaking my hair and clothes, but I didn't care. I just wanted to breathe. When we reached Hale's unmarked car, he turned to me. Ava, I know your uncle wasn't perfect, but he was trying to do the right thing. I swallowed hard. You saw the video? Yes, the moment you played it, it pinged our system. Marcus was working undercover, deep. He wasn't just an accountant. My breath caught. He was investigating a laundering ring, Hale continued. The group you saw tonight. He didn't steal the money, they framed him. That USB you're holding. It has evidence that can bring all of them down. A single hot tear slid down my cheek. My uncle died protecting this? Yes, and he trusted you to finish what he started. Those words hit me harder than the gunshots. For the first time since his death, I didn't feel like a victim. I felt like a survivor. And like I had a purpose, I stared at the USB and my hands small, unassuming, but powerful enough to destroy the people who killed him. Okay, I whispered. Let's finish it. Detective Hale nodded with a mix of respect and sorrow. You're stronger than you think, Ava. Maybe I was. As we drove away from the flashing lights and chaos, I looked out at the storm, finally calming. I had lost my uncle. I had nearly lost myself. But I had gained something too: clarity, courage, and the truth. And as long as I was breathing, I would make sure his death wasn't in vain, because sometimes family isn't about blood. Sometimes it's about the ones who fight beside you in the dark and help you walk out into the light again. The end.